You didn't shut the door.
Addie!
Seriously.
Mirror!
Oh my goodness.
I'm set up. And
You're
hooked
having
up.
her come 3 rooms away to shut a door that is 5 feet from you.
It's technically about 8 feet, and I can't reach it, and I am set up with a microphone and headphones. I am attached. I am plugged in.
I'm taking your gift away.
With that. Hey, would you do me a favor and shut that door?
See, she was even bringing you a beverage.
Aw.
What a sweet girl.
In a Crock Posse mug.
Yeah.
You are the greatest. Did you have all that staged already or something?
No.
You're the best. You really are.
Was this like a peach drink or something in here, or just water?
Vodka. All while having a whole lot of fun. Do that one more time. No. Wah, wah, wah.
Hey guys, today on As Good As It Gets, we're going to talk about how we met.
All while having a whole lot of fun.
Cue the music.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to As Goode As It Gets, the podcast. Season 1, Episode 3.
I'm Cris.
And I'm Mikey.
And welcome to our virtual kitchen table. Pull up a chair. We're going to just chit-chat today.
Yep, kind of hang out.
About some ancient history.
Again with a long time ago in a life far, far away.
How two dinosaurs met.
Yeah, that's what it feels like now.
Yes, yes.
We're taping this episode on New Year's Eve. Here's how much of a party couple we are. We're like, do you want to go to a party? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And we're like, no, let's tape a podcast.
Snowed in Indiana.
Yeah.
It is so cold right now. So very cold and miserable. The roads are bad.
Yep.
And I got an Amazon delivery today of the crock pot pressure cooker. That's the version of like an Instant Pot.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, I could even make dinner in the new toy.
This is how wild we are. Hey, what do you want to do tonight to get wild and crazy? Let's unbox a crock pot, Instant Pot hybrid thingy.
Yes, let's do that. So that is the wild world of recipes at crock.com.
We are crazy.
Yes. So while dinner is cooking in the other room, we thought we would hop in here and talk about some things. But before we get started, something else came in my Amazon box. And this came as a suggestion from Crock Posse member Carlton.
Yeah. Oh, Cal Olson.
Is it not? Is that?
No, Carlton Olson, but he says he's our old buddy Cal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was like, oh my goodness, I've gotten somebody's name wrong.
Nope,
which
you did
is
good.
Totally possible.
No.
Because I talked to lots of people.
Well, we've only got over 13,000, almost 13,500 right now.
So he suggested, and I'm not exactly sure why. I'm sure it's your obsession with Bob Ross.
No, if you remember one of the videos that we just put out back in December of 2017, for y'all who are joining this later on, we did the ham and ranch potatoes.
Okay.
And I was brushing on the soup mix
and
on
you
top.
were
And I was painting on there like I was channeling my Bob Ross. I was painting on there
Yes.
going happy little trees.
Yes.
And then or happy little taters, which led to me really trying to learn how to use Photoshop. So I photoshopped myself as Bob Ross painting a portrait of happy little taters.
Yes. And so Carlton had suggested that we get a little mascot for the show. And so we officially have the Bob Ross Chia Pet here. We'll also put it in our recommendations Amazon shop. For those of you that like to go there, that's amazon.com/shop/recipes that crock. And we will put a link to that if you would like your very own Bob Ross Chia Pet.
I love it because I haven't had a chance to look at the box, but they've got Bob Ross sayings on them.
Oh.
Like there's one here that says, "There's nothing wrong with having a tree as a friend."
There you go.
I'm trying to, my voice is like a little bit deeper today. I just got done earlier today. I led worship at a couple services at church, and my voice always gets really deep afterwards. So
That's not true. It's because he takes a very long nap because he gets up at the crack of dawn.
I ate lunch and then end up sleeping all afternoon.
Yeah.
Even a little tree will grow up to be a big tree. All it needs is water, sunshine, and love.
Oh my goodness.
The same for all of
All
us.
I keep thinking is
Love
poor
it.
Bob Ross. Did he know that he was going to be made into a Chia Pet? I'm curious because you even got a T-shirt, which I can't believe you're not wearing right now. A T-shirt.
I think it's in the laundry because I like wore it for like 3 days straight.
You got a T-shirt for Christmas that had Bob Ross all over it, and I'm like, wouldn't that just be really weird for people to be like plastering your face all over everything?
Oh, I would so do that. I would love it. Who wouldn't love a little Mikey Goode on their?
Oh my goodness, no, let's not go there. Okay, all right. So to today's topic, are you still?
I'll be petting Bob Ross's head. We'll unbox this on a later show, but or just we'll probably have him out.
We'll probably get him out and
have him
water
sprouting.
him and all that. I mean, Addie is really into this. She's like, can I be a part of putting this together?
Yeah.
So
awesome.
so we'll have to do that sometime off camera, and then you'll see Bob grow as we continue.
Well, his fro will grow.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's. Are we gonna leave that there?
Well, I don't think we can just invite
feel
Bob
like
to
Bob's
the party and then kick him
staring
out.
at me. Oh, he's our New Year's Eve guest.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. Welcome,
all right.
Bob.
Well, and I'm sorry because this is not coming out anywhere near New Year's, so it feels we're really dating this episode, but that's okay.
Because in the episode we're dating.
Yeah. Okay. Well, not quite. Don't get so quick. See, this is what I didn't like about you right off the bat. Just jumping to these conclusions.
I guess I was a little forward. Hey, by the way, Happy New Year to y'all. So we left off. We talked about where we grew up.
Yes.
And our influences, and we just kind of chatted about who we were right before we met. And then now we go to the fall of 1996.
Oh my goodness.
And I did not like you.
And the feeling was mutual.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back even further than that. I had heard about the Mikey Goode, and this is something very interesting too.
The Mikey Goode.
Yes. Everyone in college called you Mikey.
Yeah.
But your family, like when I met your family later on, like after we got over not liking each other, they like were kind of thrown for a loop because you had always went by Mike.
Yeah.
In high school.
All the way through. Well, the only person I think I think I was called Mikey until maybe second grade. You know, because you're a little kid. Everybody calls you Jimmy or Bobby or Susie, and until it's like, no, it's Susan.
Okay.
Well, not me.
You went by Susan?
Well,
okay.
I tried that for a while. But yeah, we got to college, and I don't even know.
I don't know how that started.
It was my freshman year in college.
You were Mikey by the time that I came around.
Yeah.
So I was a year behind you in school.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember after like trying to find my footing, trying to find my group of friends, I was going and hanging out with different people from my dorm. And then also there were campus ministries that I was testing out and trying to be a part of. And so a group of girls that I had got to know were all going out to dinner one night at a local fast food restaurant. And we were all piled in this little bitty car. And the topic of conversation was Mikey Goode. And you're shaking your head right now. But this is so funny because that was not the attitude that you had back then. Back then, you were a smooth operator.
I was a kid.
You were the guy that you... And I guess it was somewhat well earned because you were the topic of. I had never met this guy, but everybody was talking about what a cool guy he was, how awesome he was, how wonderful he was, and I was just like,
I'm not saying they're not right. It's just weird to hear it like that.
No, wait. So we get to the restaurant, and I don't even know if you were there to begin with or not, but I remember you coming in and me identifying that was who everybody was talking about. I don't know if it was the collective or what when you walk in, but like clearly I was like, okay, that's the guy that they're all like crazy about. And I'm just kind of going, okay. I mean, I wasn't at that.
I walk in the door and you were not impressed. I understand now.
No, No, it was just more or less, I was like, I just noted in my head that was the guy that everyone was talking about, because I was trying to get to know all these people, and I did not know anybody at that point. And so that was my first impression of you, was, okay, there's the guy that everybody's talking about. But I also, like, I wasn't, and I wasn't one to just like swoon just because everyone else, clearly. I think that was his major problem with me, is that I wasn't swooning.
Are you not impressed? Oh my gosh.
So no, and then I think what ended up happening, I don't even know that we talked to each other at that event.
I think
you probably didn't even know that little old me.
Well,
was
there were
there.
so many women
swooning, but
jeez,
but no,
it's so not me.
Back then it was, because that's what I would not put up with. So then I don't know. I think because we were kind of involved in some of the same circle of friends, we started to finally get to know each other. And I think my assessment of the situation was, you were a player enjoying all this attention of all these girls.
We've got to backpedal about, well, my whole childhood on this.
Oh.
I was not a ladies' man in high school. Okay, well, maybe my senior year. No, I was like, I had the confidence level of a turtle. I just wanted to be in my shell, you know, and as I got a little older and I got into my high school years, you know, I learned that, okay, I'm an entertainer. You know, I like to sing. I like to make people, I love to make people laugh. Mm-hmm. And I found out that humor was one way to, well, impress the ladies, because they liked funny guys. Some of them did. You know, I clearly wasn't athletic. I was strong. I'd help my dad in a junkyard and stuff like that, but I was not an athletically built boy. I was not built for that thing. I was built to play little drum, be a little drummer boy. But by the time I got to my senior year in high school, I'd gained a lot of confidence, because I'd grown up. I'd started to bloom, I guess, as a man, as a young guy, and
I think that's natural. I think most people kind of come into their own.
But by then, I was picked on because I was a nerdy kid in school. You know, I was kind of a geeky. I was a band geek, you know, and which I am totally proud of, especially now.
Oh, totally.
But
geeks are awesome.
Nerds rule the world.
Yeah, exactly.
But when I got to college, you get to college, it's like you get a do-over. You know, it's like you can start fresh and really be who you are. I mean, I'm not saying you have to be somebody different or change who you are, but you could be who you are, and people will find you cool with that. You know,
right.
you're not conforming.
You find
and so,
your tribe.
Yeah. And so my freshman year of college, you know, I was dating a gal, and then we break up. And so I find myself single and young. And in college, that's what people do, is they date. Everybody dates, you know, at least back then. They might do weird things now, but
dated a lot of people.
I did not. Now, you know, I dated around a little bit my freshman year. And then when I got into my sophomore year, you come back and you see these same friends and new people show up. And it's like, as a guy, you're like, well, hello, ladies, you know? And so gosh, it's bringing back memories of, you know, because I remember coming back my sophomore year, and it was like, wow, girls really find me interesting. And I still wasn't used to that. I wasn't, and it was all in my head, I guess, but I was not in my head, I was not a ladies' man. I was like, how in the world are these girls even finding me remotely attractive? I'm such a nerd. You know, and it was
Well, you got over that real quick, because you started dating people.
Well, it was like, I guess maybe I should find out what it is that I have. So I did. I dated around and you know, I courted many a lady.
Yes, he did.
My sophomore year for about a month. A month and a half, something like. No, it was about a month.
But there was one girl who wasn't all that impressed.
Well, yeah.
And she told you about it.
Because, you know, and I don't know if I think this term is going to be old and it's going to date me. Uh-huh. I was macking at the time. You know,
my word.
I was impressing ladies. I had girls that called me. I had girls that gave me their number for me to call them. And I was like, oh, I found something here. But, you know, I mean, that, on the outside, it looked like Mikey was this cool guy who was out dating everybody. But in his head, he was like, holy cow, what do I do with all this, you know? But I did. I thought, okay, well then I guess I'm gonna start dating around, and I'm not gonna take anything too seriously. You know, I was in, you know, I had the, you know, the relationship, and, you know, been a boyfriend to somebody and everything, and, you know, everybody breaks up when you're kids, and so I was heartbroken. I'm like, I'm not gonna let that happen again. I'm just gonna go out and how they say, play the field.
There you go.
You know, and then so I'd been dating around for a while, and then I met you at a campus ministry in college, and we met. I don't even know if it was there or if it was.
Well, I think we were running around in the same circles. So
Yeah.
other than that one meeting, I don't really recall a whole lot, other than we did start talking and very soon started butting heads.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like, you know.
Well, let me tell you why. Again, I felt like I had to be generous with my time for the ladies. And I had a couple gals that had shown interest in me, and I was interested in them to get to know them. Nothing serious, nothing, you know, nothing funky or nothing like that. It was just, we're going to go out and have a good time. And you know, I'd take them to dinner.
Sure.
Dutch, of course. And then there was a play. And
I don't even know how I knew about all of this is the weird thing, other than you must have been telling me. I think you were trying to impress me, and I was not.
There was this play that was going on for a week at school, and it was a really good play. I was really impressed by it. Like, I liked the theater and stuff like that, but I really hadn't seen that many plays.
Nobody believes that you wanted to see the same
No,
play.
it was a really good play. So I took a girl to this play. It was free, and it was a good play. And I think one of the reasons I really enjoyed the play was there was a scene in the play where one of the main characters was like really, really hungry. Mm-hmm. And they had this plate of, and I'm sure they were like little White Castle hamburgers, but it was like 5 or 6 White Castles. Uh-huh. And he scarfed down the entire plate. But they put on the play like 4 times that day. So every play, he had to scarf down like 5 or 6 White Castles and look like
so
he
this was really
was
about a food
enjoying
challenge.
Well, I wanted to keep going back because I'm like, can this dude really finish a plate of White Castles 4 or 5 times in a day? And he did. He knocked it out of the park and made it look like he really enjoyed it.
Okay, but the point of all of this
But
is,
anywho, I took one of the gals that I was dating or seeing. I wasn't even really dating. I was courting. There we go. That's
courting.
We were
courting. Serious. Courting is like the step. You were dating.
We were flirting.
Okay.
We were interested in one another.
You went on a date.
Yeah, I went on a date. Took her to the play just to watch this guy eat a plate of White Castles again. Because I had seen the play.
Explain that to these multiple women.
Oh gosh, no! I just want to say there's this really good play that I've seen like 3 or 4 times already. So, because I'd seen it once before without anybody, and
I didn't know this.
Oh yeah, you got to know how to set the scene.
Oh my gosh!
And so I take a gal to the play, and then the next night I was supposed to hang out with a different gal.
Wait a second! I thought you took the 2 girls on the same night.
No,
to the same
gosh,
play.
no.
Oh
no! I spread out my time evenly.
Oh my gosh!
But it was like the next night I was supposed to hang out with another gal. She, we were like, it was like a Thursday.
So your super creative,
yeah, and I'm like,
self was like, hey, let's just go.
Well, I didn't have any money, so I wasn't like going to take a girl every night to a movie. Let's go to a free play.
Our first date didn't cost you any money either.
I know.
I'm noticing a trend.
But the food was good. So I take.
Did you take another girl to there to get a plate of food?
No, because that was like the only event of the fall.
Okay, I just have to. I have to make sure our history wasn't built on a lie.
But I take the second girl on a date the next night to the same play, had a great time, and then by that time it's the weekend, and we're all collectively hanging out in a group, and I think one of the girls is like, yeah, Mikey took me to a play.
And I'm like adding, I think that's what it is somehow I had heard from both girls, and I like put all the pieces together, and I'm like, dude, like,
hey,
how original.
You like totally called me out. I'm like, you seriously took this 2 girls to the same play in the same week. And I'm like, it was a good play.
And he didn't like that.
No, because you were calling me out.
I wasn't swooning, is what you were upset about.
I wasn't swooning, and you called me out on my mad skills. So then I'm like, who is this girl and what is this vanity about her that she
Vanity?
Yeah, that I wasn't good enough for you.
It wasn't vanity. It was called, like, can't everyone see that you're just playing them?
So then how did we... Like, at some point, we had to get along.
I think it boiled down to I was probably one of the few people who was pushing back, and I think that might have intrigued you a little bit.
I found a challenge. You were like the next level in the game.
Yes, so you are victorious.
Yeah,
that's a chapter from
that's later
our
on.
Married life of his video game addiction. But no, no. So I remember when we actually did, kind of start talking, because you were a good guy. Let's all the joking aside and your misguided path into how you were treating women.
Oh my gosh.
You were a good guy, and I remember writing home to my mom and I think she still has this letter, and I remember saying that I met this really cool guy that I think we're going to be friends for life. And you immediately went into the friend zone with me at the beginning, because it was like, I just really enjoy talking to him. And I think that's probably, because we just talked and talked and talked. And we started talking about how we grew up. And
we started to get to know each other, and it was like, you're from a small town, I'm from a small town.
Yeah.
Your dad is self-employed, my dad's self-employed. Your mom cooks really good, my mom cooks really good.
Right. And so we started talking a lot.
Yeah.
So much so that the campus police got concerned one night.
I don't know. There were events constantly in college. I mean, that's what you do. You were in a social club at all times. If you're not in class, you're running around with friends. If you're not studying, you're running around with friends doing something. And you had to move, didn't you? Something about did you move dorm rooms or something?
I don't know what was going
on,
but we were needing to move something.
I had an 86 Crown Vic. It was an old police car, which was fitting because I was going to go to college and be a police officer.
Right, but it could also have been mistaken for like a serial killer mobile too.
Yeah,
so.
it was kind of a creepy car. It was a great car. The man, it was fast. No mufflers, and just it was loud. But anyway, you needed to move something. I offered assistance, and I'm like, hey, we could use my car. I've got a big back seat. I actually used
that's
that
what he
line.
said to me, and I just looked at him like, are you kidding me?
And I totally meant that as there's plenty of storage space in order to move whatever it is you need to move. But the way it came across in her mind when she looked at me was, hey baby, I got a big back seat. And
I wasn't having
which it was hilarious though, and of course I backpedaled because I'm like, that's totally not what I meant.
Yeah.
But we got to know each other, and we
would like hang out with each other when we would be at group events. We would end up gravitating towards spending time with each other.
We'd share rides to things. I'd take you or you take me, and it was just.
And sometimes that would lead to really long conversations. It's so much so that here, this girl is sitting in the serial killer mobile in the middle of the night, and we had campus police come up one time to make sure that I was okay.
Sure that yeah. Well, I
hadn't been abducted.
It was like 3:00 in the morning. We're out there, and we were good. We just sat there and we talked.
We were really because again, I had told my mom that you were just a friend. Like I was in complete denial of what all this meant.
Yep. But then we constantly hung out. We always hung out anytime we were anywhere. And then I remember we went to a retreat. With one of the campus ministries, and all weekend long we talked and talked and talked, and then we rode on the bus back from this retreat back to the campus and talked the entire time. Right. And then that week, every single night,
we were talking.
And back then, you could go to class all day, run around all night, stay up until 6:00 in the morning, get a couple hours sleep, and then go to class. And we did that every single night.
Right. And so then we were you had asked me if I wanted to ride with you somewhere, and we went to something one night.
A dinner.
And then that night we stayed up all night, and we were talking, and then you said the most romantic words possible to me.
To be fair, I did. I put a move on that I think worked because we had talked all night.
A move.
And we went to a dinner.
You were still playing games, huh?
We had went to dinner at a friend's house, and then we went to like some event with a big bonfire, and then all of us went out to Denny's, and then we went back and sat until, well, would have been 6:30, something like that in the morning, sitting in a parking lot just talking, and then I'm like, hey, you want to go see the sunrise? Because it's like that's almost
not the romantic words.
Oh, those are the words I was talking about.
No.
So we drive to the golf course near
Right.
the campus.
And for some reason, I have this weird memory that before we went, I ran inside and I got a grape soda. I don't know why. That's just totally random. That's totally random.
Okay, so she grabs a grape soda, and then we go to a golf course, and we're like both dead tired. And we watch the sunrise over the golf course. It was pretty. It was a slick move. And then we go back to the parking lot, and it's like, I had to go to work. It was a Saturday. There was an event going on at the
he had to time
the
it
Holman
right
Center.
so that he could get me a free dinner for the first date he was getting ready to ask me
I wasn't
out
even
on.
ready to do that yet, but the whole time I'm like, man, this girl is awesome. She's real. She's not, there's nothing fake about her. That's for sure. She was totally could see past my BS, and so we get back, and
She was a little bossy though.
She still is, but we get back, and I said those 4 words that to this day you won't let me live down. I said, I'm scared of you.
Yes.
And it was because
It was for good reason.
all the other girls were fun to hang out with. They were nice girls. They were pretty girls. But in my mind, in my heart, you were prettier. You were more real than any of them. You were like totally real to the bone. And you were honest. You had integrity like nobody I'd ever met, and still to this day have not met anybody with a level of integrity like you've got. And I'm like, am I really wanting to jump into, like a serious, like I could just totally drop the world right now and be with you. And that scared me because I'm like, dude, I'm young. I've got all these girls that potentially could be dates, could be, anything as a young guy.
And I had made it clear that if we were going to pursue something, that there would be no dates on the side.
Oh no, it was you or nobody. And I knew from being, just hanging out with you that you were a good girl.
Yeah.
And there was going to be no fooling around, And so I'm like, do I really is this what I want to go for? I mean, I've got all these other options in the world right now. And I'm like, but you're one in 7 billion. There's nobody else in the world like you. Do I really even want a chance letting that go for a lot of fun?
Right.
And I'm like, man, I was terrified. I'm like, do I really want to do this? And so I said, I'm scared of you. And you're like, you're what? And then I'm like, I really like you. I like being with you. And I wasn't good with the words of, will you go with me? I'm like, but I was like, I want to be your boyfriend. I want you to be my girlfriend. I want it to be just us.
Right.
And you're like,
yeah.
And that also scared me because I'm like, if I get rejected right now,
I'm
going to wither up and die.
You had played your game well and reeled me right in. But no, I think.
Was it the sunrise? What did it?
No, it was the saying you were scared because that was truthful.
It was a good line.
Because it was scary. Because it was different. It was just way different than any other. It was kind of like this force to be reckoned with. And then I will also say that immediately what you said to me that day was that you had to go have some conversations with girls that you had been taking out on dates to let them know.
I think I had a date lined up that night or something.
You were going to take her to the free meal.
That might have been it. That's what it was. There was only one. There was only one meal, so I'm like, I had to pick and choose wisely.
So yeah. Anywho, like you're like telling me that you're gonna go have these conversations, and and so I think it was very scary. And I had my I'm scared moment later on that I catch way more flack about than you do with your
well, I wanna say
yours
this, though.
was a romantic gesture. Mine was me being heartless.
We go out on a date, and I had to work that night, and it was an event. It was some kind of a dinner. It was a prime rib dinner, and it was like, I'm going to get paid. I think I made like $5.50, $5.75 an hour, but in college, it was good money. And I was going to get paid to go run some wires for sound and then sit there and eat as many plates full of prime rib as I wanted that were left over while there was this dinner going on. And then my boss says, Rusty, I love that guy. He says, if you want to bring a date, you can. I'm like, are you serious? Because I
just got this girl.
I mean, at today's rates, it would have been like a $50 a plate meal. And he's like, yeah, you can bring a girl. It's fine. So I'm like, you want to go with me? I've got to go to work tonight. But if you want to go with me, it's a prime rib dinner and cool music and stuff like that.
Right.
So we go.
Yes.
And we go back to my room. We go back to my dorm room and watched Birdcage.
Are you sure? I don't. Yeah. I think that was
that was the next
night. Date.
Yeah, that's right. The freebie that you got. I think we finally just had to sleep.
Yeah.
But then the next night's when I took you on the date that I actually paid for, and we went to like a spaghetti shop down there, and then came back and watched Birdcage.
That's probably
and that's where
we probably went to Blockbuster and got a movie.
Yeah.
Because we're that old.
Yeah. And we watched Birdcage.
I'm sorry.
Our first kiss.
Yes, I'm sorry. You're trying to get it here to talk about how horrible our first kiss was.
It was awkward because we'd never kissed, and you've improved.
Oh, I've improved.
But
I hadn't had as much practice as the smooth operator.
Listen, I don't know. I think I've told you this story about one of the girls that I had to let off the hook.
Uh-oh.
And we met up that night at the like we had a computer center, remember, in the middle of the campus. And I called her. I'm like, hey, we need to talk. So, and let's meet at the computer. Why at the computer center? I don't know. But we met there, and I'm like, hey, I got to let you know something. Just out of respect, there's another, because nothing's been serious with anybody, and, you've been seeing guys, I've been seeing other girls and stuff like that. But there's a girl that I just, there's something about her that just clicks with me. And I think I ended up spending like 15 minutes just talking about everything I knew about you.
Because that's what a girl wants to hear when you're breaking it off with her, is how much you're into another girl. Oh my gosh.
She's like, I am so happy for you. I want to find that.
That's nice.
Because the way you've described how you feel about her is how every girl wants to be felt about.
Aww.
And she cried. But it was a happy cry. It was like, I'm happy for you kind of thing.
Breaking
I just
hearts.
wish. But I'll have you know,
yes,
she did meet a guy later on in college, and they ended up being together forever. And
that's awesome.
And she met the guy that did that for her. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, I dug you. Still do. Yeah.
Well, that's good since we're, kind of married and all.
Well, yeah, I mean.
So.
So we get together.
Yes.
And we dated, and I got to know your mom and dad. We both visited families and stuff like that. And that was October 5 of 1996. I remember.
Is when we
That's when we decided we were going to date.
That's when you were officially scared of me.
That's when I was scared.
Yes.
And so we dated. We hung out every single day. I remember, it was probably about a month into us being together that your family came up. Your mom, your dad, your sister, and I'm not sure if your grandma was there or not. But they came up to visit for something that was going on. Mm-hmm. And I remember coming down. I was like, there you were. You know what? Because back then you didn't have cell phones. We had just gotten email at the time. And
I think it was called P-mail.
Yeah. And the only way to do email was through the central computer at
Right.
the reception
school.
desk at the
You had to stand there in front of everybody
and read your email. Yeah, really private. But I remember coming out and there you were, and you're like, "Oh, Mikey, Mikey, Mikey," and there was your mom. So I got to meet your mom and dad, who are actually, they were younger then
Oh gosh.
than we are now.
Oh my gosh.
I think your mom and dad were like in their late 30s when we all met.
Oh wow.
So that's how old we're getting. But yeah, we did. We hung out and just got we got crazy about one another.
Yes. And that is what leads to where you make me the bad guy.
You weren't the bad guy.
Because like I had all these plans about, I had been saving money. I'd gotten scholarships. I had all these plans for how school was going to go. And I hadn't factored in like meeting my soulmate within like a month or two of college. Like that was not in my plans. I really hadn't dated a whole lot. Like, and so it was like, wait a second. I'm really falling hard for this guy, but does this make really a whole lot of sense in the bigger picture of things? Because, like, I mean, we were becoming two peas in a pod, and it was like
we were the couple that everybody was sick of just because we were like, I love you.
I think, well, and I think the other thing is I knew that we were headed very quickly to marriage if like we didn't throw the brakes on.
Yeah. Because
we were just like, it was like we were just always together. And so anyhow, so that scared me.
That's why I scared you.
Yes. And see, I think that's
Turnabout's fair play.
See,
That's right.
yeah. And so, and instead of me saying, hey, I'm scared of you, I said, hey, let's break up. He didn't like that.
She dumped me
And it wasn't that.
during finals week.
Oh my gosh.
Not like life isn't stressful
I
enough as a
will
college
not
student.
live this down. And so it was just the culmination of everything. And I think I was just like, this is like way more than what I had bargained for. I thought I enjoyed hanging out with you, but I thought we were dating. I didn't realize that I was going to fall so hard and be like, this is my life.
Yeah.
Like my life is going to change. And so, and as you well know, I'm not really good at faking things from a standpoint of...
Oh, no, I knew right away there was problems.
Like, I couldn't just be like, oh, let's still date, and be in my head going, this is not... This does not feel right in my future or whatever. So I broke up with you for a whole 24 hours.
It was a long 24 hours.
That I will forever be treated poorly over because I broke up with you during
Well,
finals.
again, we stayed up for a long time, and then you dumped me and it's middle of the night. And I remember because before we dated, like the couple summers before we dated, I started chewing. And because I worked in this masonry business for a family that were friends with my family, and I was just a hired hand. They called us a hot pack, and so I'd mix the mud for the mortar and stuff, and it was a rough job. And everybody either smoked or chewed, and so I started smoking. Is what it was. I started smoking because I wanted to be cool and be one of the guys.
And that was really smart since you had
asthmatic. And then and my brother, I was over at his house one day. He was building on his new house. And he's like, "You're an idiot. Don't smoke. Chew. You need to chew." So I started chewing. Yeah, it was a lot smarter. Yeah, it was a good habit to get into. But we'll get to that later on in the story.
Yeah.
But I was chewing, and then, we started dating, so I quit. And then the night that you dumped me, I went to the gas station and I bought a pack of cigarettes. I'm like, I'm going to go back and start smoking. And I smoked an entire pack of cigarettes, like within, like, I spent like all night smoking the cigarettes. So At 6 o'clock in the morning, I reek of cigarettes. I can't breathe. And so I lay down and pass out for like, I don't know, maybe an hour.
Yeah, because I'm waiting for it to get early enough in the morning for me to call my mom.
Yeah.
Because I'm bawling my eyes out all night long, because what I quickly realized is what I thought was going to bring me relief, like, oh, this pressure is going to go away, that, you know, I've met this life force that's going to change the entire trajectory of my life. What I realized was breaking up did not make that feel better at all. That made it feel worse, because I took like one of the best things about my life and where it was going, and I just said no thanks. So I called my mom, and I bawling to her and telling her that that I broke up with you, and that I had been sitting there thinking that I wanted to call my best friend, and then I realized that you were my best friend. And then that made me cry all over again. And so I don't even know what my mom said to me. She probably told me to call you. And so that's what I did. As soon as like I got off the phone with my mom,
you called me.
I called you.
And you're like, can I come see you? I'm like,
and he's like, what the?
I'm like, I'm sorry, who is this?
Crazy woman?
So after an hour of sleep, I'm like, oh my gosh, what does she want now? She just dumped me. What else? Is she going to come kill me or something? So I come to the door.
Some salt
you
for
come
your
in
wound.
just like
a mess.
A
hot
and
mess.
you're like,
and then I tell him what I told my mom, which is like
I'm tore up about this, and I needed to talk to my best friend, and I realized that's you. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I had no idea what to do, because I'm like,
what the?
This gal is, she, okay, just a couple hours ago, she tears my heart out, and then she comes to me and tells me I'm her best friend, and I don't know what to do with this. I'll be a nice guy. You want a hug? So we hug it out, and we talk and everything, and then I'm like.
Then we proceeded to hang out the rest of the day.
Well, I get some sleep, and then I remember that night I was studying for finals, because again, she dumped me during finals. And we're up doing laundry in the laundry facility up there at the dorms. And you came in, and I'm like, I haven't even eaten today. I've slept. Now I've got to study. I was in my head. I'm like, leave me alone. I don't know what else I could.
Really?
I don't know what else I could do for you.
Because the words out of your mouth were "make me a sandwich."
And then I don't think I told you to make me a sandwich. I'm like, I'm hungry. It was a test.
Oh,
I'm like, I'm hungry, but I got to study. And so you left, and you went and made me not just any sandwich, not bologna, not ham. She made me honey loaf, which is like my favoriteest meat ever.
Yes.
And she comes back with this honey loaf sandwich, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to eat that. Because if I eat that, then I've accepted her back into this life. But that looks like a really good sandwich.
It was all about the food tempted you. No, you were really about laying down the law.
Well, so I'm eating the sandwich, and I'm trying to okay, I got to act cool. I got to act like I'm the boss here. Probably one of the only times in a relationship. I'm like, here's the deal. As I'm scarfing down this sandwich because I'm starving, I'm not playing any more games.
Because I was such a game player.
Yeah, I sounded so cool when I said it, and I'm sure my voice was cracking. But I'm like, I'm not playing any more games here. If you want to be with me, I clearly want to be with you. If you want to be with me, no more games. We're either in this for the long haul, or we're done right now, because I cannot.
It was like life sentence. It was like
it's either us or none at all.
We're not doing this. We're not ever going to break up again. And so how were we 2 months into the relationship at that point?
October, November, it was December. So
3
about
months.
just shy of 3, about two and a half months.
Okay. So at 2.5 months, we make the decision, this is for life.
Yeah.
Even though we're not engaged or anything but
it's like our mentality was
we can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
The decision has been made that we will be together for life.
Yeah.
Because it is too hard.
We might as well have eloped that night.
Because 24 hours was too difficult.
It would suck
to not be together. It was like like literally relinquishing over to the force that had become our relationship and saying, okay, we're going to be together.
Yeah.
And so then by that
January or February of the next year, we were inseparable. And you left for Christmas. I had to go back home for Christmas. I was miserable because I wasn't with you.
Right.
And then, so, we finally get back together after Christmas break. And I remember we were watching a TV or something in your dorm room. And I'm like, I want to marry you. Simple. Yes. I think I even just said, will you marry me? Yeah. I'm like, wait. Because your eyes like, it got huge,
There was no.
And I'm like, no, there's no ring. I'm not saying we're getting engaged right now. But I'm like, I would you marry me? Am I the kind of guy you'd want to marry? And you're like, yeah.
I didn't say it like
not
that.
like that, but you were excited, and I was too. So I'm like, I think this is what I want to do.
Right.
And so it was like the best semester ever. Not according to my parents, but my grades dipped that year, and it wasn't anything to do with you. It was because I took harder classes.
I was going to say, over the course of your education, I feel that I probably improved your educational, like, helping you get higher grades and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but my senior year I was doing great.
Then dragging them
but
down.
My grades dipped my they weren't bad grades, but I was becoming more average than I had been, and mom and dad were expecting A's and B's, and I was starting to bring home C's.
And they thought that girl.
It was that girl that's taking up all his time, and he should be studying. And
that girl.
But I think we fared okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't fail or nothing.
And then by that summer, we were engaged.
Yeah. I remember driving. I was so excited because I had spent like all my cash for this diamond ring. All like $110 of it. Hey. It was like Cracker Jack box. There was a local jewelry store down there, and I went and I bought this ring, and I was so excited. And this is a ridiculous story, but we'd agree because you were gonna leave. You were gonna go.
My family was going on family vacation.
Yeah,
I was going with them.
And your family vacations weren't like, well, they're like our trips now.
Well, yeah, it was like gonna be.
They don't go
3-week occasion.
Yeah, your family trips were never like, oh, let's go to Florida for a week or 4 days, or let's go to Disney World. You guys packed up in a vehicle and just drove the United States.
Never knew where we were gonna be, so I was like, how's he even gonna call me? And because
again, back then, no cell phones, no email.
And so, we actually
got snail mail. We actually got letters.
Yes.
And I remember this stuffed animal that I had since I was a little kid. And I remember you spraying your perfume on it so that I could smell it while you were gone.
Weren't we young and adorable?
Yeah.
Anyhow.
But so you're leaving for this vacation, or did you just get back?
No, I was leaving.
You were leaving for it. And I bought the ring, and I had to take that drive, which back then a 2-hour drive was like forever.
Right.
So I jump in the car and start driving. And I remember I had to go to the bathroom so bad, but I didn't want to stop. One, because I had this ring that in my head was like $1 billion, and I didn't leave in the car.
Was for college kids. College kids.
And so like I'm driving down the road, and I pulled a Dumb and Dumber. You've never seen that movie, so you probably don't know. As I'm driving down the road,
what did you do? Oh my gosh!
because I'm like, I'm not stopping. I've got to get there
so
because
you're
leaving.
Telling me you didn't wash your hands before giving me.
I can't remember. I cannot remember that particular
Lord,
thing.
Have mercy.
But
I don't know that I want to know these details.
But then we get there. I get there to the house, and I didn't even. You met me out in the driveway, and of course we just hug and kiss, and just like, oh my gosh, I've missed you so bad because we hadn't seen each other in like a couple days. And I said, hey, look in the glove box.
Right.
And so you looked in the glove box, and I had written on a paper towel, like a little napkin, will you marry me? And there was the ring sitting there. probably the cheesiest way to get engaged.
Hey, it worked.
But I'll tell you this: I got down on one knee in your dad's driveway, which was a rock driveway, and it hurt my knees. Yeah, so I went through a lot of pain for that, and we got engaged. We walked down to your mom and dad's house, and come through the door, and you're like showing your ring, and the look on their faces were priceless. They were like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah,
and
I think they pretty much knew that was the route that things were headed already.
There was no way they were going to change there was no way anybody was going to change our minds, but
no.
I don't think our families wanted us to get married. I think yours was a lot more accepting than mine.
Yeah.
But we just knew. We knew.
Right.
And that's what mattered. We knew what we needed to do, and there was nobody else.
Right. To clear and to kind of bring this into picture, I was a freshman, you were a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ended up getting married at the end of my sophomore year.
I was going into my senior year.
So we spent a year planning a wedding, and then, and I literally had professors say to me, like, which I guess I should be thankful for, like, they assumed that I was dropping out of college because I was getting married at the end of my sophomore year. And that just, like, totally ticked me off because I had no intention of not completing college or going ahead and getting my degree. And that was one of the big parts of us deciding when we were going to get married. Is I told you, I remember I had a bank account that I had been saving money in, like, since I was a kid for college. And between that and my scholarships, I wanted to make sure that I had enough money in that bank account to pay for my college to graduate. Mm-hmm. And if I did not, then I did not, because my parents were helping me pay for college. But the deal was that once I'm married, I'm out on my own.
Right.
And so my whole thing was, if I'm going to go ahead and get married while I was in college, I was going to have enough money in that bank account to pay for my degree because I wanted to graduate.
I was broke, so I was looking for a sugar mama.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, worked out pretty good.
But it boils down to I ended up having enough money saved up between that and my scholarships. And then when people would doubt me and my ability, that just made me, like, the surest way to get me to do something is to tell me I can't.
And I was the exact opposite. I was the person that if somebody said you can't do that, I'd be like, okay. And maybe that was being the spoiled youngest one, I don't know, but I'd always listen to everything everybody told me, like I had to do it this way or that way, or if something was wrong. Yeah. But I remember going home and telling my family, hey, Cris and I got engaged. And I remember a family friend saying, that's stupid. Those were the two words that came out, and they came out, and I was like dumbstruck, and I didn't know what to say. I mean, I was filled with a lot of words, but something clicked in me that had never, ever clicked before in my entire life, that nobody's going to tell me I'm stupid.
Right.
And get away with it.
Right.
In the way that I will prove you wrong, know, and
I had rubbed off on you.
You really did. you had made an impression on me. I'm like, this woman is headstrong, and I know something great is going to come from her. But when somebody said that's stupid, I lost it. Mm-hmm. And I think I just didn't invite him to the wedding, but but when somebody said that, I mean, it really clicked in me, like, I'm going to prove you wrong, because I love this woman. It's not and we were very good kids, as far as relationship. It wasn't a physical relationship. It was straight from the heart. We just knew that we were crazy about one another, that we were the ones that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with you. I'm going to like totally steal a movie line here, but you completed me,
Sure.
And you were brilliant, and you spoke life into me from the very beginning, you know. And so I'm like, and I was like, you need to wait. And I had brothers say, you need to get rid of her, dump her, because she's gonna, you don't get married this early. And I'm like, no, I kind of want to. Yeah. And so I shut him off, and no, we're gonna do this. And I remember saying, we're gonna do this. You can be a part of it, or you cannot. It's totally fine. But I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with her. Yeah. And well,
that's what happened.
Almost 20 years later.
Yeah. And so I think we just recognized that it was like a force that, you know, this is something that's going to happen.
And it's a recurring thing too, where we decide we're going to do something and the world goes,
thinks we're nuts.
You again, the words "that's stupid" comes up, or you know,
those words aren't allowed in our house. By the way,
no, that's a cuss word.
Yes,
to Addie.
Addie knows that we don't talk like that. Just because you can have reasons why something may not be a good idea. Yeah. But just calling something names does not make it.
When you disagree with something, and that's again, it's helped. Those instances in life, I think, have helped formed how we go about criticism, how we go about, I would never, if you wanted to do something, or if you said, I think this is what we should do, or I've done this. I mean, I can't even imagine saying that's stupid or dumb.
Because you then have to duck.
Well, yeah, the crock pots would come at my head. But and not even that. It's not because of the repercussions of what I said. It's because I know what that feels like. And I know that to hear those words, because when you...
I think those words are usually said out of fear or in an attempt to control a situation.
Or jealousy.
Could be. I think mainly it's when someone else is doing something that you feel might be a little bit crazy. It's a scary feeling because it's like,
it's not the norm.
What are they doing?
It's like, I'm not pulling you out of your comfort zone for this. This is all me.
Yeah, but I think other people, just by when you do something like that, it gets other people to kind of like, it's jolting when it isn't the norm.
Oh, they were riled up for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think we have I think that's pretty much been a theme, is that we do end up, and I don't think it's on purpose. I think it just kind of happens a lot of times where we're just kind of like, yeah, we're going to do this totally off the wall thing. Well, it's because
we don't really usually do things the normal route.
No. No.
But we've found it, I mean...
Yeah, it works for us. And I think that's kind of the attitude that we take with other people, is do what works for you.
And I mean, and like I said, those experiences have made us grow up. I grew up right then, when I was told I'm stupid, because I'm like, no, I'm not. I found
right.
a gold mine. And I don't mean that financially. I mean that is, I found my soulmate. I found my best friend.
Well, it was our relationship.
Yeah. I found what my future is.
Right.
Why not just go for it now? And, but it set the tone for how, now I'm not saying it set it right away. It's taken a lot of years of practice.
And that does not mean, and we're going to get into this in coming episodes, that does not mean that it was easy or even at times ideal. Yeah. I mean, I think it was the right decision for us at the time. And overall for our entire life. But that does not mean that it was necessarily the easiest route to take.
It was hard.
Because in essence, I mean, because my friends like to joke that I was a child bride. I was 19.
I was 20.
And so it was not easy by any means. And I think that that's probably where some of that was coming from, because and I tell him this all the time. I'm like, think about your daughter. And what if your daughter at 19 is like, or I was 18 when I got engaged.
It's not allowed in this house.
So see, but I think that some of that comes from, and it's just like when you see someone who may be making decisions or what you feel might be mistakes that you personally have made or are afraid of or something like that. So I think that most people were well-meaning. They may have not been really great about expressing
I think
that.
it's the delivery of your sentiment that people need to work on. But yeah, I mean, I get it because I mean, my mom and dad married young. You know, I had three of my brothers had married young.
Yes. And,
you know, a couple marriages of those didn't work out, you know, and because life is hard. Life is not easy. Life is difficult. It's an upstream battle the whole time.
Right.
But in my head, I'm like, yeah, but when there's two people in the boat, it's a lot easier to row upstream.
Sure.
And I've got a heck of an oarman or woman, I guess. A partner. Had a good I don't know. I don't do rowing. I don't row much.
That analogy went south.
But I did. There goes the boat. But, you know, I had somebody to paddle with.
Right.
You know, and so I don't know. But I mean, as we grew up together, it set the tone for if I'd have listened to those people, then we wouldn't have got married. I don't even think we'd have stayed together.
Well, no.
Because if I'd have listened to one thing, then I would have listened to you don't need to be in a relationship right now. You know, I've heard date around, play the field, you can have many women, blah, 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 you know, and stuff like that. And I mean, I didn't want to be that way, especially when I found the one that I knew was the right one to be with. So, so we ended up being engaged for a very short time. And, you know, I'll set the tone for the next episode with this. You know, do you remember I remember saying, I want to marry you that January, February time. But then when we got into the spring of that year, so spring of 97, we decided when we were getting married.
Oh,
it was because we were on a walk.
Yes.
And
that's another reoccurring theme.
That's another,
lives.
Yep. Every time that we go on long walks.
It's very dangerous for us to go on long walks together. We
because
make big life decisions.
Every life decision, every huge, big, major life decision we've made it on a walk.
Yes.
So we're gonna stop there for now because that sets it up for us getting married and the first few years.
Yes.
And we want to thank our sponsors over at patreon.com/recipes-that-crock. Our patrons over there are the reason and the means for how we're doing this podcast and everything that we do. We want to thank our Crock Posse who tune in for this, and for y'all who are tuning in now, we thank you for joining us.
Yes.
You can check us out over at recipes-that-crock.com for our recipe blog, as well as goode-as-it-gets.com, as GOODE as-it-gets.com. And that will take you to our YouTube channel where you can see this podcast and all the recipes that we cook up, the family fun, the music, and everything else.
And if you are watching on YouTube, we are releasing this one episode at a time. And if you would like to binge listen to the entire first season of As Good As It Gets, the podcast, you can head on over to the website, and there will be a link down below that will link you to all the episodes. We're releasing all the audio files at one time, and then putting out our weekly episodes.
Kind of like we do our weekly chat. For now, this will be our weekly chat, and you get through this first season, we'll probably go back to talking about more food and stuff like that. But again, we're trying to get the folks who are just joining in to kind of get to know us a little bit better. So far, to recap for now, through the past 3 episodes, we know what we're about. We knew how we grew up and how I was a ladies' man.
Yes, you were quite the ladies' man.
Hey, it worked.
He had, you know, that's the thing that I was thinking this whole time is you did end up like the one girl who was not impressed is the one that ended up with you for life.
I conquered Everest.
I mean, I guess that's what you want to say. But thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next episode.
Cue the music.